We are flying over one of the most beautiful cities in the Kaliningrad region, Zelenogradsk. Its old name is Kranz. We will start our acquaintance with him from the city park. But it's not just a park. In 1844, King Frederick William IV of Prussia ordered the allocation of funds to the city community. And with this royal money, this magnificent park was created, which received the French name Plantage. In the 19th century, this pond and the wooden park pavilions were a favorite vacation spot for vacationers. A large public hall, a music pavilion, where festive events were held, and the famous Plantage restaurant were also built here. But let's talk about the history of the city and the place where it is located. The first people appeared here about 10,000 years ago. Archaeologists find household items, weapons, and burial mounds here. People here were engaged in hunting, gathering, and farming. Since then, people have lived here constantly, but there was no prosperity or activity until our era. But in later, finds in the 1st and 2nd century, Roman coins and jewelry were found, which indicates the wealth and prosperity of the local inhabitants. And the reason for that was amber. This place, like the entire coast, has the largest deposits of amber in the world. Amber went to the Roman Empire and served as an ornament for the nobility and wealthy citizens. But at that time, there were many different tribes living here. Russians, Balts, Curonians, Sims, Russes. Everything changes in the 19th century with the arrival of new Viking settlers. Historical sources also tell us about the events of 1,000 years ago. Here is what Saxo Grammaticus writes. Haakon, the son of King Harold, nicknamed the Blue Tooth, conquered the Sims. The Danes took possession of Zamland, married the women of the defeated Prussians, and lived with the enemies. In the 30th century, this territory was conquered by the German Teutonic Order, and another version of the translation is connected with this. The name of the city means a wreath of hop stalks hung in the Kranz Tavern, founded by the Knights of the Teutonic Order. Kranz is translated from Prussian's Krantas, a coastal slope, a cliff. Over time, the village of Kranz appeared near the tavern, the inhabitants of which were mainly Lithuanians and Prussians who were engaged in fishing and catching birds. And the tavern existed right up to the beginning of the 20th century, and later a railway station was built in its place. Until 1816, Kranz remained a poor fishing village with a population of no more than 300 people, until it was designated as a royal resort. In 1800, King Frederick William III ordered the East Prussian Sanitary College to prepare a plan for the construction of resorts, and after the Napoleonic Wars in 1816, Friedrich Christian Kessel, chief medical advisor in Königsberg district, opened warm sea baths here. With the increasing popularity of the resort, fishing huts were pushed to the outskirts, and Kranz was built up with small houses with original architecture. They housed hotels, boarding houses, and simply furnished rooms that were rented to vacationers. Throughout the 19th century, the city developed a railway to Königsberg and telegraph service were built. The royal resort was a favorite vacation spot of the St. Petersburg. In pre-revolutionary Russia, it was considered fashionable to go to the waters abroad. The Crimea and the Caucasus had their own Helen Springs, but the Russian aristocracy preferred the West, and especially the Baltic resorts like Kranz, which were close to Russia. At the end of the 30s of the 20th century, there were already about 6,000 citizens in Kranz, 6 churches of the various denominations, more than 40 hotels, boarding houses, cafes, restaurants, and many private villas. The Second World War practically did not destroy the city. There were no private enterprises here, no large army bases or warehouses, so Kranz was not of interest for air raids. After the annexation of Königsberg region to the Soviet Union, the Zamlansky district was established with the center in Fischhausen. Kranz became part of the Primorsky district. On September 7, 1946, Zamlansky district was renamed Primorsky district, with its center in the city of Primorsk, formerly Fischhausen. And Kranz was renamed Nachimovsk, but already in 1947, Zelenogradsk. In 1999, the city was declared a resort of federal importance. The resort's attractions, a beautiful seaside promenade, a city promenade with a long beach, and large park that merges with a large pine forest outside the city. The Curonian Spit National Park, included in the UNESCO list of the natural monuments, begins from the outskirts of the city. The beach is covered with fine light sand, turning into small seaside dunes. The relief of the sea floor near the coast is flat and flat. There are no steep descents and ascents. The city also has its own mineral water, which is called Zelenogradskaya. About 17,000 residents permanently live in the city, but in summer the tourist flow increases this number several dozen times. From here, it is very convenient to make excursions to various places in the Kaliningrad region, and especially to the Curonian Spit, which start from this city. Walking along the shore and the incredible sea air are very popular with locals and tourists, and a lot of museums, cafes, restaurants will not let you get bored in this beautiful city. Zelenogradsk is the city you always want to return to.